loose again. Edwards off the running. Let's get back down to Edwards. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won. Right now, and they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Riley Williams. Goes to the free. Touchdown.
Georgia Tech, you were on deck, guys. What's going on? It's another edition of the Gridiron Uncensored podcast. And, baby, we are ready to rock and roll. We like this team a lot. We had kind of a miscue on the last episode, so I'm kind of laughing about it still, just seeing Trev down in the corner.
I'm jiggling over here because I'm trying not to laugh into the mic. But good Lord, it was funny.
It was. Thank you guys for coming in and listening. We appreciate you, Brendan and Trevor, tonight. If you're listening on podcast platforms, again, we are on all the podcast platforms, and then of course YouTube here. So we appreciate your time. We're in the middle of ACC previews, Trev. We're rolling through them, getting to the top of the ACC, and Georgia Tech. I just the fact that we're talking about them up here makes me happy. And Trev, I know you've been a fan of Georgia Tech for a long time, and
yep, pretty much ever since we started this podcast, I've been saying that if they ever got their stuff together and they got some focus on the football team, that they could really start really making some waves in the ACC and nationally.
Yeah,
potentially even the playoff.
It feels like it's been a sleeping giant. You know, it's the facilities. You know, they're the recruiting base, the location. The state of Georgia produces a ton of talent. Then you got academic standards too that are good at. At Georgia Tech,
yeah.
And what's not to like really on it? Great uniforms as well.
Love them. Clean. I love the whites with the gold face mask. That's my favorite.
We love it. So, all right, we're done blowing smoke up here. Oh, maybe we're not. We're gonna.
I'm gonna keep going a little bit.
So, Trev, let's look real quick. 2024. I guess because we like to look back before we go forward, and maybe the downer here was it was 7-6 years. So much potential in this season, but then you had suffered some tough losses, and you expect that, kind of in the middle of the pack. Syracuse was a tough loss. Louisville, which was a team that was kind of, good. It was good last year, but they had some down moments. But they caught you there, and then you lost to Notre Dame, which ended up going on to play for the national championship, and then a funky Virginia Tech team. That was a game that I really thought, Georgia Tech should have beat them. Then you go out and you beat Miami, which really kept them out of the playoffs, which was hilarious.
It was, yes.
I laugh at it just because, it's, Cristobal,
That's
whatever.
Football for you right there.
And then a tight win against NC State. And then the brutal, gut-wrenching loss against Georgia, 8 overtimes. Staying up to watch that game was like crack. And like every type of thing, you couldn't stop.
Haynes King was on a different level that night, though.
It was a nasty, just nasty. And then again, you lose to frickin' Vandy in the bowl game. So really up and down season, had some really nice highs, some tough lows. What does 2025 have in store? Because there's obviously momentum there. Trev, now they're pushing in. They've got went out and solid portal class, all these things. What about the coaching staff before we get on into that?
So, nothing super major, I feel like, but I do feel like there's a couple additions, 4 to be specific. That I notated, and so they added Kobe Jones, Mike Polley, Brian Bohannon, and Emil Okiyor Jr. I think. Kobe Jones is new quarterbacks coach. Mike Polley, assistant offensive line. Brian Bohannon is senior offensive assistant, and Emil Okiyor is quality control and offensive line. Which honestly, guys, a lot of these guys are good additions, mainly because it'll help you recruit going forward and deal with the transfer portal, NIL madness that is in college football right now. The more experience you add to the coaching tree, I guess you could say, will benefit the program all the way through, including recruiting and transfer portal.
And Emil, he was a top level recruit offensive line. As Michigan fans, he was between Michigan and Bama, and then he went with Bama, at the end. Brent Key knew him well. So that's, again, you bring him on the staff. We have familiarity. Help us out in offensive lines, technique, whatever else, but also like Trevor mentioned on the trail. And then, Santucci ended up leaving as a coordinator. And then so they replaced with Blake Gideon that came over from Texas. I think the staff, you still have continuity there. The offense is, I think, still going to be deadly. It's a good looking crew. I think there's reason to like the staff has.
Yeah, and I think with adding these additions, plus having what we're about to talk about here in a sec, is the recruiting class transfer portal that they're bringing in. I think Brent Key has bought himself probably a good 2 to 3 years of leeway on record and not making the championship game. I think the administration is going to kind of ride him out for a little while to see what he can do with a couple good recruiting classes and see what kind of records they can do, and hopefully we can get them to an ACC championship game.
Yeah, and that might come sooner than later. I thought, looking at, Twitter, that maybe we were kind of the outliers thinking that this team could maybe push, but a couple of the other guys that, that we're friends with that look at football as well, they're high on this team. And so we're going to look all into that. We're going to talk offense, defense, portal, all the good stuff. So thanks for sticking with us. Looking at, the portal class, and, we talk coaching changes, portal class, 32nd in the nation, Trevor. They went out and they got guys.
They went and got guys.
24 in and 29 out. It's a pretty nice class. Some of the guys key that I had coming in: Akilo Stone, Eric Rivers, Evan Haynes. Guys like that are important pieces, and there's more, of course. But I'm just trying to do a quick hit. Some of the key ones out: Saeed Gibbs, Kai Greer, guys that depth pieces. Eric Singleton, that sucks to lose, and then Corey Robinson is another one that I pegged as somebody that's tough to take that loss. But again, when you look at the portal, they got a lot of good guys coming all across the country, from Cal to South Carolina. They got bodies, man. They got dudes from Clemson. So you're coming from all over. You're getting people that can fit this program. Trev, what you like this portal class a lot?
I love it, and I really love it because I think if anybody has listened to me talk about these portal classes, I am a big proponent of picking up D line and offensive line help out of the portal. I am a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of replacing your entire team, but I am a big fan of getting experience on the defensive and offensive line, and that's exactly what Georgia Tech did. Yeah. They went and they got Akilo Stone, like you mentioned. They got Malachi Carney, a very big offensive tackle, 6'4", 312, from Alabama or South Alabama, excuse me. They went and got AJ Hoffler, edge rusher, 6'4", 255 out of Clemson. I just like what they did. A lot of defensive players, whether they're starters or not, they're going to have a lot of rotational pieces on the defensive side of the ball. So that, there were some games where I feel like they just ran out of gas on defense. Honestly, there were some games because there was a lot of back and forth games, and I just feel like they definitely did themselves a whole lot with the transfer portal. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit here, Brendan, just because I can't not talk about it. In that, for the first time in a little while that I can remember, Georgia Tech has a top 25 recruiting class. And they got a 5-star offensive tackle, Josh Petty, a 4-star top 60 player in the nation, Tay Harris at corner, a top 75 player, and Dalen Penson also at corner, and then another D lineman. They hit all of the positions I preach about hitting.
Yeah.
Through the portal and the recruiting class.
They did a great job on it. And, you've shown consistency, as for the coaching staff. And when you can show consistency, hey, we're close. We're close. We need you to help us get over that edge. We can sell some, hey, there's some wins. We're in these games. We're right there on the cusp of an ACC championship, berth. Help us out. And, they can do that.
Yep.
So there's a lot to like about this Georgia Tech program moving forward. And you look at the numbers, real quick from, returning production and stuff. 65% of the team returning production. That's always important. Good returning production. They have that. SP Plus from Bill Connolly has them as the 44th best team in the country. So again, this is a team that's strong. They've got pieces across offense and defense, recruiting ranks, like you mentioned, returning production, all these things that matter when it comes to, looking at this year. And even, 2024, before we get into, the offense defense, the numbers for the offense and defense, 35th in the country when you look at total offense, and then 42nd in D. So, I mean, this team they're solid. They're a good team. It's just they could not get over some of the humps. And like you said, I think some just run out of gas in these back and forth games. So some of the good depth that they've added here in the portal will help that. Let's look at the offense, Trev.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got to talk Haynes King. That's their guy. And I feel like this dude's been around football for freaking ever at this point. Even back in the day, Texas A&M, everything. It just didn't work out. But he's found something good here. Yep. And the offense that they're running is just really favorable for him and his skill sets, Trevor. So him coming back is massive for a playoff push this year. And we said playoff push.
Oh yeah, I am with you 1,000%. I really think that if the cards fall the way I hope they fall, that we are going to be talking about Georgia Tech at least at minimum in the ACC championship game.
Yeah.
And that's a spoiler alert because that's pretty much my pick. But whatever.
Yeah. Hey, I like this team, man. Haynes King's great. He's fun. Last year, so in 2023, he had 27 touchdown passes, 16 interceptions. But last year, dialed it back, threw for a better completion percentage at 72%, 14 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. That's great. And even that, dealing with injury and everything else that he's dealt with throughout his career, this is a guy that you can trust. He's got the running ability if he needs to.
Right.
He doesn't have to, but it's crucial to his games because it keeps defenses honest. But if he keeps this year going where he limits the turnovers and can throw at that clip at, passing percentage, it's going to be a dangerous offense no matter what happens around him. And then you add in what else they have. Offensive line was strong last year, returning good parts of their interior. The nice portal additions that we mentioned up front. They got big bodies. The running game is good. You got Haynes King, and then you got Haynes as well at running back.
Yep.
Hosley comes in. I think that's going to be a good, change of pace back. I think there's pieces here that this team.
You got Malik Rutherford coming back at wide out. Joe Fusel. Oh, sorry if I got that wrong. Kalen Rutledge, two interior linemen coming back to add in also the other linemen that they're picking up between the recruiting and the transfer portal. I mean, I'm telling you, this offense is going to be scary for a lot of teams right now that are in a state of, I guess you could say, flux.
Yeah.
That maybe they don't have the offense quite figured out, breaking in a new quarterback or just breaking in a new offensive line, which there are a couple teams in the ACC that are breaking in a brand new set of offensive linemen that have never worked together before.
Yeah. And even, looking at weapons for Haynes King to throw to, the FIU duo, Eric Rivers had a great year last year.
Yep.
And now you got, Haynes King throwing to you.
There you go.
To me, it should just set up. And then Dean Patterson also comes in. He's 6'2". So, I mean, there's bodies all over. Will Reed even coming up, as offensive line. That's a big body. It's 6'6", 305. And, who knows if he's going to gain weight or whatever for the season. But there's bodies all across. Tight ends, Harry Lodge coming up from Wake Forest, JT Byrne coming over from Cal, Gatling coming over as wide receiver from South Carolina. there's people all over this offense that should keep it in that same round. We said 35th offense in 24. Something I think it could even push higher than what it was, last year. Even if it's in the same realm, it's going to be a dangerous offense, and teams cannot take it lightly.
Yeah, I guess with that being said, I want to kind of talk. I want to kind of talk about the defense a little bit, because I'll tell you what, the defense I think is even more loaded. To be perfectly honest with you,
it's got bodies everywhere, man. The guys that can play, they can hit, they feed to the football.
And I'm like, you got any Georgia Tech fan, you got to be excited about EJ Lightsey coming back. Kyle Effort, both at linebacker, coming back. The Lightsey's going to be a difference maker this season. I'm going to call it. I think he's going to be a leader on the defense, which I think he already is, but I think he's going to just be a difference maker and a playmaker for that defense in the middle there.
Yeah. They said that, they've got guys that can just fly around. The defensive backs, again, good players. I like, what they've did in the portal too. But really, you bring in Kevin Hill, Daquan White. These are maybe from the lower levels. You're talking about the group of 5, group of 6 now, I guess, with the Pac-12 figuring shit out. But Savion Riley coming over and from the defensive side of Colorado. He was, I gotta get the hell out of here, go play for a real team that plays defense. You got John Mitchell, cornerback, coming from Penn State. And then we mentioned Stone up front to help anchor, with what they already have. Matt Alexander stepping in. Vandenberg's over there. He's another anchor in the middle. This team has pieces to keep the run at check. And I just want to see them create more turnovers. I think that was the biggest thing from when I look at, the 2024 team. More turnovers, more interceptions. Can this new defensive coordinator help them get that? I think it's possible. There's good players all over this team.
And what I'll say to that is, I feel like last season they just didn't quite get enough pressures on the opposing quarterback.
Yeah.
So hopefully with the added talent that they're bringing in, plus the returning linebackers and a few other defensive players, that they can figure out maybe creative ways to get to the quarterback to make those miscues, make a deflection on a ball or whatever, to kind of create those potential turnovers.
Yeah. And that's what you're hoping for. And again, we talk about, teams and, the potential to push for, conference championship. Yeah. Coaching continuity, good returning production, veteran quarterback. That's 3 things already right there that this team has. Trev, let's look at the schedule if you're down.
Let's check it out. Let's take a look and see what we got.
This team's got going for it here. And schedule is always the fourth one that I have that can pick a real national title contender. That's my 4 thing. When you look at this, it's obviously sucks. You play Georgia at the end, every year you got to deal with that. Then Clemson, so you're playing 2 top 5-10 teams, depending on where they are. But when you look at the rest of it, what do you think, Trev? Colorado early, they're breaking in a new quarterback, or Caden Salter, who is trying to figure himself out.
Georgia Tech will run right over him. That'll be fine. They'll make buffalo patties out of them. I don't know.
God bless.
I can't.
Cow patties.
I was gonna say cow patties, but it didn't really fit. So.
They're kind of like
they are kind of like big cows with horns.
They're cousins or something. I don't know. Listen, we're not biologists. Then you got Gardner Webb. All right, that's a win. And then you got a dogfight there, against Clemson 3 weeks.
But if you can steal that in Atlanta, you can write your ticket, because at that point, if you beat Clemson, it does. I know it matters to all Georgia Tech people if you beat Georgia, but in the ACC world, it doesn't matter if you lose to Georgia.
Yeah,
as long as you win your conference games, you're in the chip, and you give yourself a shot to have an automatic spot.
Absolutely, and Clemson's already playing LSU week 1.
They are.
So, I mean, that's something that, say they lose to LSU week 1 with all this hype that's surrounding Clemson from us, from everybody else.
Yep.
Because of what they return. Say Clemson slips there, and then maybe you catch them reeling in week 3, and they're like, their season. I mean, you might end their season week 3. From what their actual hopes are. But then after that, so even if you lose to Clemson, whatever, you go and you beat Temple, beat Wake Forest. To me, that you should win. I like some things that Wake Forest is doing, but they're just not there yet. Virginia Tech's still in that weird limbo stage. The Duke's, I think, going to be improved, and they had a solid team last year. Syracuse will probably take a little step back, but they also have pieces. NC State, a little improved, in my opinion, from where
they're
they
still
were
a dangerous
year.
team. They still have a lot of talent on that team.
Can't take it lightly. And then Boston College we just covered them. A team that should be able to contend with anybody, and it's tough, but it's definitely manageable, and it's broken up. And Trevor, the way you look at it, I think it's broken up pretty decently. Where the bye week
is broken up favorably, in my opinion. Yes.
So I mean, when you look at the over/under, Trev is 7.5. I think I forgot to mention that. So
you 7.5. It's okay, because I mean, I think they have that. I think they have 8 wins in this schedule.
Just from the talent in the offense alone, and the good pieces that they have across the defense, I think you're right. I mean, you should get it by mid-season, the 7, even if you lose to Clemson, and maybe say you slip up to one of Duke or Syracuse. You're still I think you're gonna find that 7. I'm taking the over pretty easily. Georgia,
I think I'm going to take them at 9 wins. It's an over, but I'm going to call it at 9 wins.
Yeah. They're going to be right in the hunt for the playoffs and the conference championship
for sure.
berth late in the season. And the Georgia game might maybe push them out of the playoff realm if they lose that. But if you win that game,
they'll still have the chance to go to this ACC championship and get them in that way.
Exactly. That's very true. So I think there's a lot of hope for this team. I think they can get off that 7-game hump and get into that 9-10 win realm, just based off what they have, on offense alone. Haynes King is dangerous. You bring a veteran quarterback. This is a team that we like a lot, and you guys let us know. Do you agree with us? Are you not as optimistic, or you kind of like you fading on the hype? You don't want to get too hyped up and be let down. Let us know what you guys are thinking.
I'm all in. I'm all in on the good old Jackets.
Chips have been pushed all in. I think this is a team that'll be right there.
Although I did say that about NC State last year, and see where that got me.
So did I. And then please don't be NC State for me.
Please, for the love.
Don't be what we thought they were going to be. Please. Yeah. I don't know. I don't.
I like you too much, Georgia Tech. Don't do me like that, please.
I think coaching's better. I think the players are better. This is a team that's going to be right in it. So you guys let us know what you think, and I'm excited to see what this team brings to the table early against Colorado, because go watch our Colorado episode. You can tell there's not a lot of hope there.
There's not a lot of hope, and that there's definitely a whole lot of hope for the other team that they're playing.
Absolutely. Again, we appreciate you guys, and let us know what you think. We're excited for this season to kick off. I'm probably going to try to use Georgia Tech in college football 26. If we're able
they got
to.
The new unis coming out, I think. Don't they?
Yeah, they did. They dropped them. I think they look pretty good. I like them. I do
like the black ones.
Older,
those are nice. Those are kind of all right.
I
still like the all whites though, man.
Yeah, the all whites are always just that's just a good look. Either way, let us know what you guys think.
Yep. Shoot the comments down below. We'll respond when we can.
That's right. We're always in it. We'll see you guys around.
Take it easy.